There's a certain kind of confidence that comes from knowing you're prepared, not just financially, not just socially, but physically. Because the truth is, life doesn't always give warnings. Emergencies don't send invites, and in those moments, what you know and what you've done before then can make all the difference. Today on Aperture Lens, we are shifting the way we think about security from something external to something deeply personal. When we hear security, we often think of guard systems, protection from outside threats. But what if one of the most important forms of security is our health? Not just being healthy, but being aware, prepared, and responsive when something goes wrong. Today's conversation is about emergency preparedness, personal safety, and medical awareness in everyday life. The things we often overlook until we need them the most. And to help us unpack this, I am joined by someone who works in the very intersection of life, urgency, and care, Dr. Aisha Suleiman. Thank you so much for being here today, ma'am.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We have with us a medical doctor who brings both professional expertise and real-life experiences in handling health situations that require immediate attention. So today, my doctor, I'd like us to go very deep because a lot of people do not understand the correlation or the connection between security and health. So my question today is, from your perspective, why should people begin to see health as a form of personal security?
Thank you once again for having me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just like you said in your introductory speech, we usually see security as safeguarding every other thing from harming us.
Yes.
Or how do we safeguard ourselves? So we have to be safe to safeguard every other external.
Yeah.
Just like you said, we're taking it personal. So your question was, how
do we see security personally? Yeah.
So basically what it just means is people are more reactionary than they are proactive. So seeing security as a personal problem means we are now proactive. We take our health proactively instead of being reactive, meaning we begin to prevent, we begin to prepare, and begin to be ready for emergencies that might happen. Because in the real sense of the word, when there's a need for health security, the first responders are usually not the people that are trained to respond. First responders are usually you, the security personnel, normal human beings on the road. And the first 5 to 10 minutes in an emergency determines how that emergency ends. So it's good that we are prepared. We personally are prepared. You're healthy as a human being, and then 1 or 2 things that you should do in an emergency situation to save a life, basically.
So I like how you talked about emergencies happening, and then within the first 5 to 10 minutes, most people don't naturally know what they are meant to do, and the first point of contact is not always a medical professional. So I would like us to talk about preparedness in cases of emergencies, because they are unpredictable, but our responses doesn't have to be, right? So what are the most common emergency situations people find themselves in? And also, if something happens, for example, someone collapses, for example, what would you advise somebody to do, a random person, for the first 5 to 10 minutes?
So basically your question is asking me about preparedness and immediate response.
Exactly.
So I would say to be prepared means you know what to look out for or how to help in the situation. So if there's an emergency, the first thing anyone should do is to assess that place, the environment is safe before you even go in there. That you have to be safe before you can save somebody else, basically. Just like you tell you in the airplanes to wear your face mask before helping another person. So make sure the environment is safe, then assess the situation, try to get help as soon as possible. So for example, in Nigeria, let's say there's a road traffic incident, you will want to call while you try to stabilize the patient. Usually, if you know how to check if the patient is responsive, so you call out to the patient, something like, oh, can you hear me? Just go on, check and see whether this person is breathing at least. These are little things you can do, and then you can now move the patient from wherever the danger is And there's what we call putting the patient in a recovery position. So usually you put them on their left side.
Okay.
Even if you don't know how to do anything, just put the patient on the left side and call for help. The best thing to do is call for help if you can't. But if you can, you can commence CPR, and CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. These days everybody knows what CPR is about, but most of us don't know how to do it.
Carry it out, yes.
Part of it is to carry out CPR. If you can't, if you don't know how to, is to find the nearest hospital, the nearest medical facility, and move this person there.
Yes.
Unlike what we do these days where everybody crowds the person or making videos instead of trying to help, basically.
Thank you so much, man. That was very insightful. Like you mentioned, the first thing to do is not to bring out your phone and record. It is very important that we call for help professionally and do what you can first to save the life. At least check if the person is still breathing and put the person in your left side.
Yes, at least if you can't do any other thing, just put the person on his left side.
Okay, all right. So I'd like to move on to everyday habits. What are the habits? Sometimes it is not just about emergencies. Yes, so it is the small consistent habits that determine the outcomes. So what are some of the everyday habits that significantly improves a person's health, and how important are regular checkups, and why do people avoid them?
So everyday habits, the little things actually matter. The time when we begin to see our bodies, we see our machines, for example our cars, and what we do to maintain them on a daily, that would make you realize that you should also maintain yourself on a daily. So how are you safe? How do you secure your health? Basically by doing the very little things. Drink lots of water. Take your rest very seriously. Stay in environments that relax you. Sleep, adequate sleep, and then regular medical checkups. 3 monthly, 6 monthly, at least once a year. Go in, check that you're functioning properly. Try to eat good food. These days there's a lot on the internet, there's a lot of information on what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat.
Yes.
And I would bring it down to you people, the security personnel. Try to make your workflow such that there's enough time for rest, and take your mental health seriously. Basically, drink water is life. We drink lots of water.
Mind your business, very importantly. So I asked earlier, a lot of times people ignore checkups. I don't know if they do not see the importance of checkups, or they are usually very afraid. So I don't know, why exactly do people avoid checkups?
Well, from my perspective,
Yes.
a couple of reasons. One is lack of awareness. So there's genuine lack of awareness. You just feel the hospital is for treating something that's wrong, not for preventing something from happening. So there's that awareness of preventive health. It's not as much as we have it for curative health. So most of us think about treatments, not how to prevent some things from happening. So there's that. So there's the lack of awareness. And for us, there's the financial aspect of it. So most people would rather, you're juggling a lot of finances. So if you're otherwise fine, you don't see any reason why you want to use that money that you could have used to maybe eat or feed your children to go and do a checkup for yourself.
Yes.
And then there's the fear. So there's the fear that, which is something that I think is actually a misconception, that you go looking for something that is not there. So there's this popular saying that when you go there, something will do you. So there's that fear of going there and then hearing that something is wrong when I can feel like I'm basically okay. Yes. So yes, I guess by the time you add all of these things together, even for those that feel, oh, I want to go in for a medical checkup, they might not be able to finance it, because in all honesty, health in Nigeria is quite expensive. And where it is not, even for the government-owned hospitals, there's a lot of delay, a lot of bureaucracy. So it just discourages one from going in there to just go and say, oh, I want to be sure I'm fine.
Yes.
So you'd rather just go in when you're sure there's something wrong with you.
Wow, this has been really helpful, but I liked when you mentioned that a lot of times people don't go there to check up because they are afraid that if I go there, they'll discover something is wrong with me. So I'm better off not knowing.
Yes.
What I don't know will not kill me. Thank you very much. That has been very insightful. I would like to touch on something very real here for a moment. Have you ever experienced a situation where something could have been avoided if early detection had taken place?
A lot of times. A lot of times. So I would want to give an example that happened.
Yes.
So everyone knows now about breast cancer. It's everywhere. It's something that is everywhere. I think it's one of the commonest public health conversations that we have. And a relative reaches out to say, oh, I feel like there's a lump in my breast. And this is something that could have even been picked without you feeling the lump. That's if you do your self-breast examinations like they ask you to do, or if you go in for your regular mammograms and all of those. So anyway, she picks a lump and she calls me. And I say, oh, and I swing into action. I said, I'll come into Abuja, because I'm in Abuja.
Yes.
Come in, let's go get your test done. Let's see what the lump is. It might not be cancer, really, but let's be sure what it is. And now that I picked it as a very small thing, this is the best time. I go on all that push. Then she says, okay, in fact, I drop the phone, I call a colleague of mine and tell her, oh, I have a patient like this. They say, oh, we can even do virtual because of the urgency we know about this whole thing. So we're taking it very seriously, yes? So she can do virtual consultation before she gets into town. So I call her back, say, oh, that's that. And she says, oh, you know what, I will just wait first. I just want to, because there's this herb I'm taking now and it's getting better. So I'm like, no, please come in. And then we go back and forth. She's an adult. And I leave her. Fast forward 3 months later, she's calling me. Lumps bigger and it's now more painful now. They have to come. We're going in for all the tests and I am certain it is not where it was initially. I don't know if that makes sense. And now we have to start chemotherapy and all of that. There's been scenarios where a woman has come in and her breast is basically fungating. What I mean by fungating is when you have something that is rotting. And she's been like that for months. So that fear of, I don't want to go, I can, and then we have, for us in Nigeria, we have the traditional medicine, we have a lot of myths around orthodox medicine that makes people not want to come. And so you have people, there's that fear of coming to the hospital basically. So by the time they end up coming, these things have gone to where they shouldn't go to. They have, what's it called, spread to other parts of the body. And then by that time, cure is no longer on the table. We're no longer talking about curing you, we're now talking about how we can prolong whatever you have left of your life. It's no longer that we can cure you. But if you had come in at the state of that small lump, you have been cured, and it's good. You won't spend as much as you spend on treatments, you won't go through the psychological trauma of it that long. So yes, in everything, even anything in life, when you start early is better. I don't think there's anything that you start early that you have a disadvantage to. So also for health conditions, the earlier you come, the better for us. When you come later, it is harder for us to save you, basically.
Wow. We've been hammering on how security is meant to be very precautive than preventive. You can see that when it comes to health, it is also very important to be cautionary, to take precautions before you move to the preventive or trying to treat it stage. So I'd like to know, ma'am, how can somebody be very conscious and aware about their health without having fear or being anxious?
I think that will come from knowledge. So maybe when we realize that our bodies are like a machine, just like cars, and that they need to be fueled, they need to be serviced. When you see your body in that light, there will be no fear, so to speak. And when you also have the knowledge that as you go through life, there's going to be likely some little accidents here or there, some little malfunctions from parts of your machine, and knowing that, oh, when this happens, I can manage it, I'll be able to, there are ways to manage them and get back to the best of myself. That would give you that state of mind, not to be so scared of going to find out whether you're all right or not, basically. So yes, is in knowledge, and knowledge comes from seeking it. And these days we have a lot of information around on the internet. We have lots and lots of it. So by the time you begin to feed on quality information and begin to know that, not as if you go to the hospital and they'll just land an illness on you. It's that they will check and tell you, this is what it is, let's do this. It's preventive. It prolongs your life more than going in when something is already bad. It's always best to nip it in the bud, not when it started and now begin to find ways of curing it.
So I think what stands out from this conversation is that safety isn't always about reacting. It's about preparing. It's about understanding and paying attention. Because at the end of the day, your health is not just about how you feel. It's about how ready you are when life happens. Doctor, before we wrap up, what's one simple thing you would advise anyone listening to this right now to start doing immediately?
Start drinking water. Yes, start drinking water. And since we're discussing safety and health, learn about your environment. Try to preempt what can go wrong in your environment. Look out for the hazards in your environment and be prepared to manage them when they happen. I feel everybody should have a well-stocked first aid kit in the house and know how to use it. We should all try and take CPR courses. They are very easy, very, very easy. Let's take CPR courses. Let's learn how to manage cuts, wounds, bleeding, such that we can at least try to stop bleeding before we get to the nearest hospital. Let's all learn about the nearest health facilities to us and learn how to get there. Let's also learn to have all the emergency numbers in our environments and the country, and let's have an open communication where we can easily call. Let's have an emergency contact that when you say hello, they're there to pick you up at any particular time of the day. But above all, drink water.
Very importantly, guys, thank you very much. This has been very enlightening, very insightful, and eye-opening as well. So make sure you drink water.
Yes.
Very important. This has been the Aperture Lens podcast, where we don't just look at life, we understand it differently. So stay aware, stay prepared, and most importantly, take care of yourself. Oh, also most importantly, drink water. I am Princess Ogeyi Achi, and I'll see you on the next episode.